In this episode, Golden and I discuss the Amazon Prime animated series, The Legend of Vox Machina, Season 1. Full speed ahead.
The Omega Beam. Full power. The Omega Beam.
Welcome to the Omega Beam number 169. I'm your host, Oren Merton. So for those who don't know the background of The Legend of Vox Machina, it wasn't originally supposed to be a series. The Critical Role troupe of voice actors ran a Kickstarter in the hopes that their fan base would be willing to pay for a couple animated episodes. The Kickstarter was wildly successful, earning over $13 million, which was enough to fund a full season. And then Amazon swooped in, grabbed the series for their own streamer, and paid for a second season. So we stay spoiler-free for this very short conversation because we're assuming that most of you hadn't heard of this. So let's get into it. I am here with Golden to talk about The Legend of Vox Machina, an animated series, a 12-episode animated series, streaming on Amazon Prime Video. So for those who don't know, all you need to know is that this is a high fantasy, mature content with blood and swearing and stuff. Imagine like The Dragon Prince or something, but with swearing and with gore. And basically...
And sexual content.
And sexual content. And that's what you basically get. For those of you who either do or want to know a little more, Critical Role is a online Twitch and YouTube based live play group of voice actors that play Dungeons and Dragons and film it. And they've become gigantic to the point that they put on Kickstarter that, hey, do you want to fund us to do a couple animated shows? This would be so much fun. And they got $13 million. And the show ended up being bought for 2 seasons worth at least by Amazon. So I have not watched this campaign of Critical Role. I do watch some Critical Role now, but I didn't back then. I hadn't seen any of the gameplay aspect. To me, it was just an animated show. I didn't know the characters, etc.
Yeah, neither one of us did.
Yeah.
Because we didn't listen to, and what was it? Someone made a joke, I don't have 278 hours to listen to the entire role-playing game or first season or whatever.
Right. Yeah, if you love role-playing games, then watching these things is like watching great improv with some dice rolls to add randomness. But if you don't, this is, 300 hours of people sitting at a table, and that may not be the most exciting thing.
Or, instead of that, then you have 12 episodes.
Right, 12 episodes of an animated show, each episode half an hour or less. And I have to say, I thought it was pretty good.
It was very entertaining. I think I would have liked to know a little bit more about the characters going in.
Right. It kind of starts you off like when these characters are already well established in their world. But if you haven't watched Critical Role or anything, that like we had no idea.
You can still follow along.
Yeah, we followed along, but we didn't really have the backstory that they kept alluding to.
You're not coming in already invested in the characters.
But I thought they did a good job of making them entertaining and making the arc that they did in those 12 episodes relatively easy to follow.
Definitely. The animation was nice. I like how they did a lot of the magic and spell casting.
Yeah, and I thought, the music was good, the voice acting was good. They brought in a lot of actors that you know from other genre shows, Game of Thrones, Doctor Who, etc., etc. So some familiar voices, some unfamiliar voices, and of course the voices of the cast as well. The voice cast of the original Critical Role live play game show.
They had a very interesting story to tell. I think that you had enough of a background of the characters to kind of know where they were going from there or how they would react when one of them did something.
Right. Yeah, and speaking of how this ties into their weekly tabletop role-playing thing, you should mention to those people who expect this to be an animated recap of those shows, these shows are each written by writers. I mean, they took like ideas and plot lines from their game, but then they wrote a new story. I mean, this is not... So
it's not just the recap.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is something unique, and that if you saw the shows, this will be unique. And if you've never seen the shows, don't feel like you're sitting there and just, watching an animated version of what they played. It's not. This is its own thing.
Yeah, if you like high fantasy, you're interested in what Critical Role is, or you enjoy Critical Role, you'll definitely enjoy the series.
Right. And don't feel like you need to know how to play Dungeons and Dragons to watch the cartoon. I mean, there's no game. This is just a fantasy story. It's like going to see The Hobbit or something. You don't need to know anything. You just enjoy the story.
And you know that they're definitely kind of where they're going because they leave two different stories a little open.
Yeah, they do. And we already know, those of us who follow this already know, Amazon basically bought them for 2 seasons worth. So we know there's a second season coming. It was part of the initial package. It's not, boy, I hope it gets renewed. No, they're already working on season 2. That was part of the deal. So don't know if it'll go to season 3, but it'll definitely get a season 2. And I'm looking forward to it.
Well, that, and will it need a season 3? Or maybe season 2 will conclude this, and they'll move on to like the next set of characters.
Yeah, they could.
Because they do have several different characters, different storylines.
Yeah, they have thousands of hours of content as a core base to grab from, absolutely. Plus, at this point, Critical Role is just a company that creates games and books and comics and all kinds of other things. They may just want to do an original animated series based on nothing but their own ideas. So who knows? The sky is the limit. But this was a good start, and I very much enjoyed the show. Well, thank you, Golden.
You're welcome.
And that's it for this episode. You can find the show notes at theomegabeam.com/169. If you like this episode, please leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Your reviews help people who like this stuff find our podcast. If you have any comments or suggestions, please drop us a line at info@theomegabeam.com. Be good to yourselves and each other, and we'll catch you next time.
The Omega Beam. The Omega Beam.